Hello, welcome back to the channel. Got another exciting video today, a book haul. If you saw by the title, big stack of books here. So yeah, definitely excited to get these. Just actually got back from picking these up. Went to a antique store outlet mall sort of a thing, or a like antique outlet, I think it was called. Essentially, it's this huge warehousey thing with all these different stalls, and they all sell different antiques or what have you. All together, there's probably over, I don't know, 300 or so stalls of antique goods, furniture, collectibles, books, evidently enough. So yeah, it was a good time. Walked around there for about an hour and a half, got some good finds clearly, and they were all either $1 or $2, so can't beat that in the slightest. But before we hop into the books, just wanted to give a quick thanks to everyone that's along this ride with the channel. Thanks for all the likes and comments. It's definitely nice seeing some familiar faces returning and interacting in that regard, so I appreciate it. This has been fun to make all these videos, and we got too many ideas overflowing into my head, so we're definitely in for the long haul here. And consider subscribing if you're new. We're definitely, like I said, a new channel, but got a lot of fun videos planned, such as book hauls and maybe a potential reading vlog in the woodworks as well. So yeah, just wanted to say a quick thanks to everyone watching. I really do appreciate it. Now let's hop into the books here. These aren't in any, I guess, particular order. Maybe I favored some of the ones I'm more excited to read towards the top, just to make best use of everyone's time here. So without further ado, we'll get into it. I have 8 to go through, so we'll go rapid fire, as rapid as I tend to go talking about books. So this may be an hour long, we'll see. First book here is The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. Got this, like I said, this was $1. It's a pretty cool edition. I don't have any editions like this. This is the Modern Library College edition. It's like pocket-sized almost. I don't know a whole lot about this book. What I do know is that it was Colossum Books' favorite book of 2024, and I'll link his channel down below. Been watching him for a couple months now. He's got some good content out there, so definitely give him a watch. Let him know I sent you as well. He doesn't know me, but whatever. So yeah, this one's been on my list for a while. Well, I guess not a while, maybe a week since he's made his video, but yeah, The Sound and the Fury. If you know me, I know some, or I like some, family drama in my books, and I think this is just that. I have As I Lay Dying by Faulkner on this shelf. Whoop, which way am I going? This shelf here, it's somewhere on there. So yeah, excited to dig into this whenever I'm in a Faulkner mood. And I guess that does bring up the point of, I do own a lot of books, and I am certainly buying a lot of books, but my sort of philosophy about it is I like to buy the books I like, or think I will like, or I guess I know I will like them eventually, and so I'm sort of curating my own personal library, and having more books around essentially helps me read a bit more, I guess, for a hobby, which I've been trying to do. Clearly I have no shortage of books, but that just makes it so in all my various reading moods, there's always something to scratch that itch, and I'm never, well, I shouldn't say never, because that isn't the case, but less likely to pick up my phone. Instead, I could pick up a book, and if I have all these books for different tastes and different moods, then more reading is to happen. So just, I guess, a quick disclaimer before we go further. I have a lot of books, but I am sort of curating my own personal tastes at this time. Yeah, The Sound and the Fury. Next one here, this might be the one I'm most excited for. I know that Sound and Fury was first, but this one sounds so peculiar. This is The Way of All Flesh by Midas Deckers. Says a celebration of decay. This sounds so interesting. Just reading the back, I'll read it here for you. It says, youth is our most sought after elixir. Wrinkle-free faces, fail-proof bodies, immaculately restored houses, anything that will keep death and decay at bay. But what about the old, the ruined, the disintegrating? Taking the natural and animal worlds as his models, the distinguished Dutch biologist Midas Deckers argues that to deny them is to deny life itself. Decline is the clock by which we tell how far we have traveled. Dissolution, not survival, is the norm. And old age is the fulfillment, not the failure, of our advancing years. So yeah, reading that, I was like, dang, this has to come home with me immediately. And I was just flipping through it. It has like, he's obviously a marine or a biologist, so there's like pictures and let's find, you know, various pictures and whatnot laced in throughout the text. There's probably a picture every other page or so. Almost every page, actually, there's pictures in here. And this sounds fascinating. I've never heard of it before, ever. This is The Way of All Flesh by Midas Deckers. Next up, sort of jumping on the theme of curating my personal library. This book has been on my radar for about 6 months now, but I've never been able to find it. It's gained much popularity in the BookTube, Book Talk space. So happy I found it today. That is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I know some of you may already know what this is about because it's sort of been plastered around classic literature TikTok, but it basically tells a story of this girl as she slowly slips into madness, but tricking herself, or maybe she's thinking that, what is it? Not sort of like tricking herself, but believing that this insanity that she is developing is normal. It's just supposed to be like a haunting tale, and it is a lot of people's in their top 10 books from 2024, I have noticed. And so that made me just the more eager to pick it up. It's, like I said, it's been on my radar for about 6 months now. As I've been reading more classic literature, this was one of those like, oh, beginner classic books or what have you. So yeah, when I'm in the mood to pick this up, this will definitely be just what I'm looking for. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Next is a pretty peculiar pick. I haven't seen anyone read this one either. But this is Kim by Rudyard Kipling. And this tells the story of two men, or rather a man and a boy. A young white boy growing up in India, and an Indian sort of religious figure called the Lama, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's like a priest in India, and it tells both of their stories as they converge and diverge within one another, all sort of set in the backdrop of the imperialization era within India. It says sort of in the, overlaid by the uneasy presence of the British Raj. I love history. It was my favorite subject in school by far. I took a couple history courses in college as well, so I definitely know historical significance going into this book, but you can always learn more. And like I said, this sort of sounded up my alley. It was $1. I'd never seen anyone else read it. That's not really why I bought it, because I wanted to be like different or whatnot. I just thought it sounded pretty interesting. So yeah, we'll have to give this one a shot, maybe sooner rather than later. Kim by Rudyard Kipling. Next book here, I believe, is nonfiction, and if it is, that just makes it all the more terrifying. Is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. And I believe this is nonfiction. It tells the story of a family of 4 that gets brutally murdered, and the investigation that goes on to try to solve that murder and how they eventually found the culprits and things of that nature. My girlfriend recommended this one to me. She said she read it in school and actually enjoyed it. So need to up my nonfiction game. If this is nonfiction, pardon my ignorance. I don't really know a whole lot about this book. My girlfriend told me to buy it, and so I did. So that's that. So I'm excited to jump into this one if I need like a crime thriller fix, because I don't have many books like that. So in the effort of expanding my library, In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Well-renowned classic up next. Maybe one of the first, like, maybe not first thrillers, but maybe first like gothic thrillers mixed with comedy, that is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Don't know a whole lot about this book, but I've read one of Jane Austen's books, I believe. Surely I have, and I loved it. Saying that now, I forget which one I've read, but this one to add to my Jane Austen list. And this is sort of like thriller-esque, crime-esque. There's some, I don't know, family secrets and drama and whatnot that goes on within this house that this girl comes to be in. Rather short book as well, so excited to put this on my classics list to read eventually. Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. And last but not least, I bought this because I know eventually I want to read it, much like all of these, but it was $1. I see it every time I go into Half Price Books and I never buy it. But I've never had a book in this edition before, and this was the translator I wanted of this work in particular. This is The Odyssey by Homer, translated by Robert Fitzgerald. I thought this was a cool edition. It's like the vintage classics edition here. And the precipice of why I wanted to buy it, everyone knows sort of the story of Homer and whatnot, or the story of the Odyssey, excuse me. But I want to read this as sort of a backdrop before I read Ulysses by James Joyce. Notoriously maybe one of the hardest novels to read and comprehend and understand. It is Ulysses. And it's loosely based off of the Odyssey as well, and it's sort of like a parody of it in a sense. So I think I read passages of this in high school, so I sort of get the gist of it, but I haven't read it cover to cover yet. So excited to read this eventually when I'm in the mood to read Ulysses. This and two other books will probably go together. That might make up like 1 month's reading for me. I'll probably read Portraits of a, or whatever the hell it's called, Portraits of a Artist to a Young Poet, or whatever that is, by James Joyce. The Odyssey, and then Ulysses. Let me just look up what that's called. Portraits of a Letter to a Young Man, maybe. Let's see. I just butchered that. A portrait of an artist as a young man. Okay, so that's way wrong. But yeah, a portrait of an artist as a young man. We'll read that, and then this, and then Ulysses. And yeah, excited about that because I just got Ulysses as well. I heard that's a notoriously hard book, and so I'll probably take my time with that one, much like I am The Count of Monte Cristo. But yeah, good size book haul. I guess it's all coming from an antique warehouse here. It's sort of no-brainer that they're all classics and older works of literature. But hey, in an effort to read more classics this year, I think that was a great haul. Now I actually got to read them. So we'll put these up on my shelf. Let me know if you guys maybe want like a bookshelf tour. I thought about doing like a classics bookshelf tour because all my classics are on like this funky looking bookshelf, as well as there's another one over here. They're matching. So let me know. I could definitely make it happen. You can sort of see where my classics library is sitting for now. But appreciate everyone sticking around up until this point. If you did, definitely drop a like and a subscribe if you are so inclined. If you liked it, consider sticking around for more videos on the way. But yeah, with that, hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks all.